Good afternoon. It's been a long time, I know, but I just have to get this off my back. Every year in May, over 250,000 people descend upon a small Welsh town known as Hay-on-Wye. It only has a population of 2,000, but it's one of the most important places in literary culture. Of course, this is because Hay-on-Wye is home to the Hay Festival, a major event started in 1988 to celebrate books. Since then, it has grown to become a festival of intellect in general, spanning everything from art and history to science and politics. The former US President Bill Clinton described it as a Woodstock for the mind. If you've never been, it's more or less exactly what you're imagining. Another huge part of their image is environmentalism. They host the Hay Festival Sustainability Awards, as well as the Planet Assembly, which, in their words, explores dynamic solutions to regenerate the planet. They've cut down on waste and use renewable energy, and that's good, but it's difficult for me to take the festival as an organisation's claims of sustainability seriously when they pay laughably little regard to their main source of emissions, transport. The Hay Festival proudly boasts that over 2,000 people visited the festival by public transport in 2022, except over 166,000 visited the festival in total. That's a sustainable mode share of about 1.5%. At first, it might be surprising that this is so low. Again, the environment is a cornerstone of the event, and it's not like driving to Hay is particularly pleasant either. The roads aren't exactly the best in the world, and it's easy to find yourself stranded on top of some ancient bridge. Parking is about £8 to £10 if you can find a space, and it involves 3 fields of valuable farmland being ruined. Just for the avoidance of doubt, land can have a lot of value for purposes other than agriculture, but excessive car parking isn't one of them. And that's not even mentioning the many unofficial car parks or how the light gets in, which is sort of a fringe festival on the other side of town. This has got to be pretty embarrassing for the festival. The car parks are lit by huge spotlights powered by diesel generators, and they've expanded their capacity recently. They used to run a park and ride service to keep cars out of the town, along with shuttle buses to local bed and breakfasts, but these were withdrawn as they were deemed financially unsustainable. As I'm sure you understand, this is a pretty bad experience for drivers, and indeed the locals. So why don't more people come by public transport? Well, somehow it's even worse than driving. Hay's railway line sadly closed in 1962, leaving the job to be exclusively for buses. Outside of festival season, Hay-on-Wye sees a few Traws Cymru buses, about one every 2 hours in each direction. Traws Cymru is Transport for Wales's national rural operator. They run a network of prestigious routes, and they're very comfortable. The route, the T14, runs from Brecon and Merthyr Tydfil in Wales through to Hereford in England, where Hay's nearest railway station is located. But obviously this isn't going to cut it during the festival. Therefore, it contracts First Bus to operate its own service between Hereford and Hay. The timetable is sporadic but averages out to about 1 bus an hour, with a few services a day carrying on and duplicating the rail line to Worcester for some reason. The route, which is imaginatively numbered Hay, or should I say lettered, doesn't make much sense either. It's fine in Hereford, it links up with the railway station, but in Hay it just terminates in the town centre. This is a problem as the festival isn't actually in the centre. It's about a 15-minute walk away along a busy main road. Well, busy for mid-Wales. Excuse the quality of the photo, it's somehow the best one I have, but look at the allocation of space here. There are far more pedestrians than people on the road, yet they're forced onto a small pavement. If you're not going to run the bus the whole way, there needs to be a much better walking route between the town and festival site. But the buses have quite long layovers in Hay anyway, so I don't see why they can't just run them 2 minutes further. Oh, but come on, I hear you say, this is such a middle-class problem, isn't it? Well, yeah, but you're paying middle-class prices. A day return for one adult is £14. I'll just put the full price list up on screen. What on earth? They're ridiculously high. Obviously I expect some sort of markup for a festival bus, but not this. Compare this with car parking for a moment. £10 a day or £8 if you book in advance, and that'll cover a whole family. If that same family wants to travel by bus, however, they're looking at £34. It's just not competitive. Obviously, drivers will have to pay for fuel too, but it's not going to come anywhere near to the bus fare. Okay, that's bad, but that's not all. Remember the walk between the festival site and the centre? Well, there is, in fact, a shuttle bus that runs between the terminus of the bus from Hereford and the festival itself. Excellent. It's pretty frequent too, every 15 minutes, though there's no information about the frequency online. So, is it free, like you'd expect a shuttle bus to be? No. You can't even buy a single ticket. It's £5 per person for a day pass, and there are no other options. That same day ticket, by the way, cost £1.50 in 2016, and possibly later, though I can't actually find any evidence of that. Okay. With these very high prices, and very inconvenient routes, surely the actual bus travel experience itself must be top of the range. Not quite. The bus stops look a bit worse for wear. Hay's main bus stop in particular, Hay Castle, gives a really bad impression for potential passengers. I don't actually know why it's so bad. Most Trawscymru bus stops in Wales are immaculately maintained. I wonder if this has something to do with being so close to England. Maybe both countries have sort of forgotten about it. Whoever's responsible, though, clean it up. I'm sorry, this just isn't really acceptable for a major attraction. The shuttle buses around the town are operated by Yeomans, a local bus company. They use Optare Solos, which are fine, but nothing particularly special. The main Hereford and Worcester services, meanwhile, use double-deckers. Now, I love a double-decker, and there's nothing wrong with this allocation. The buses used are usually right street decks, and they're comfortable vehicles. My concern here is more punctuality. Drivers seem to just ignore the timetable. My bus was sitting at Hereford railway station for a good 20 minutes after it was supposed to leave. After it finally got moving, there was what I think was some sort of air pressure problem out on the open road. It did keep moving though, until we crossed a bus heading in the other direction which had broken down. Its passengers had to transfer to ours and, well, things were pretty chaotic. In the end, I missed my talk. I did get a refund for it, but not for the bus, so I just spent £14 and 3 hours to go to Hay for no reason. This video isn't just about me being annoyed about that. It was the spark that led me to make this video, but I've been to Hay several times before, and the transport has just gotten worse every year. Whilst, obviously, not every bus breaks down, I use this as an example of the sort of thing you've kind of got to factor in if you want to travel to Hay by bus. It is just not a viable alternative to the car for people with the means to drive. All I'm saying is, maybe the festival should take a page from their own book. Literally. Intended for other events, they published a toolkit for improving festival sustainability. It contains a lot of good suggestions, but they don't follow them themselves. For example, a discount on ticket prices for people who arrive by public transport seems like a very responsible idea, but do they do it? No, they're more expensive. Of course, their point about public transport needing to be easy to use, competitively priced, and well marketed in order to see a modal shift is spot on. But they can't then go and say that they're doing that. They're just not, and the patronage speaks for itself. So, practically speaking, what could Hay do to improve their bus service? Well, the important thing to emphasise here is that this may well require money. The festival should be prepared to subsidise in the name of sustainability, but they claim to know this already, so this shouldn't be much news. If this means increasing ticket prices by 50p, and then ring-fencing that 50p to a bus service, so be it. With that money, you could possibly run the service for free. But even if not, you could comfortably halve fares. That would no doubt increase ridership considerably. The other changes should be pretty obvious. The shuttle buses need to be free, or at least very cheap. The buses from Hereford need to run all the way to the festival and not just terminate in the town, and there needs to be a better focus on punctuality. Ideally, the event's schedule would line up with the bus timetable, so that the very annoying cases where buses arrive 5 minutes after a talk begins can be avoided. I don't think it's out of the question to expect patronage to double, and in that case, you might as well double capacity. Run buses every half an hour. It might even be worth paying for some branding to be added to the side of the buses used on the festival service. They did that for the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games, which was basically car-free by the way, and naturally that involved far more buses than Hay would ever have. This, combined with some advertising, should hopefully raise the profile of the buses. Of course, reliability will still remain a problem. This can only really be resolved by installing bus lanes in Hereford. Traffic there backs up regularly, And bus lanes would also benefit other buses, obviously, as well as the emergency services. It goes without saying that this is beyond the powers of the Hay Festival, but it is in their interests to push for dedicated bus lanes. Okay, all in all though, these are pretty simple tweaks in the grand scheme of things. Apart from the bus lanes, they could be made quickly and easily, with significant benefits. It sure would be a shame if a lot of people saw this video and suddenly started asking the Hay Festival if they could do the bare minimum to make their bus service usable, but oh well, there's nothing I can do now, I've put the bullet points up on screen. Silly me. If anyone from the organisation is watching, I mean this as constructive criticism. The festival is a remarkable place, and hosts many amazing events that probably wouldn't happen otherwise. But until the public transport is improved, a huge number of people are missing out on them, particularly those on lower incomes. And that's not to mention the benefits of a modal shift away from cars. The current system is neither equitable nor sustainable, and it's not even helping your revenue. Thank you very much for watching, and, well, waiting. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time, whenever that may be.